You ever pour your soul into something, every callus on your hand, every last cent from your checking account, thinking, hell, maybe you'll finally get to breathe a little? That was me. That was the dream. Only nobody warns you the real war starts after you move in. I built my own house, not just picked it off some architect's website, but sweat and burned it into a corner of wild Colorado. The kind of land you have to fight brambles for, with a view so sharp you almost forget about the world gnawing at the edge of your boots. It was supposed to be mine. Just mine. I'm Asher, 37. Still think I'm too young for back pain architect by trade. Though I'll be honest, these days I feel more like a bouncer than a builder. I've drawn up places for folks with more money than manners. Celebrities, art collectors, people who collect experiences the way others hoard baseball cards. But this was different. Every inch, every beam, every window mine. Tucked into the trees out where the county road dissolves into gravel and silence. The first year it felt like a reward. No HOA, no neighbors knocking, no weird potlucks. Just a place where the loudest thing was the wind slapping the glass at 3 a.m. I bounced between jobs, sometimes gone for weeks. Sometimes hiding out from the world with a welding mask and a playlist that would give my old high school band teacher a migraine. Peace. Finally. And then you guessed it, trouble found me dressed in a perfectly pressed suit and clutching a clipboard like it held the keys to the kingdom. It started with a letter pristine and thick like it cost extra to mail. Aspen Gate Homeowners Association. It read with a return address from a development down the hill, one of those places where the grass is fake and the rules are real. Notice of violation. It said, delinquent HOA dues $18,000. Immediate compliance required. Submit proof of ownership. Correct landscaping violations. I nearly spit my coffee. I double-checked the county maps. My property line wasn't just outside Aspen Gate. It was out of sight. Must have been a mistake. So I laughed. I tossed the letter, figuring it would disappear like a bad dream. Wrong move. 2 days later, gravel crunched outside. I found myself facing a woman with a haircut sharp enough to draw blood clipboard security goons the works. She didn't introduce herself. Just started in like I was squatting in my own home. I told her plain as I could, I built this place, own it, free and clear, not part of her HOA fantasy. She looked at me like I'd just announced I was the king of Norway. You'll be hearing from us again, she said, marching off like she had a marching band in her head. And man, did I. Eviction notices. Fake county seals. Even sent the sheriff to my door, 2 real officers who thankfully had more common sense than Karen, that's what I called her. You probably guessed. I handed over every deed permit, tax record, GIS map, and here's the fun part, camera footage of Karen herself taping her phony notice to my gate. The deputies almost smiled. Not our jurisdiction, one said, but watch your back. These HOA folks, they get creative. And creative she was. I caught her on tape, of course, slipping around my property at night, measuring fence lines, whispering about how soon my land would be under her control. Talk about overreach. These people were planning to redraw the boundaries by sheer willpower. They didn't just want me to pay dues, they wanted me gone. That's when I brought in the big guns. Veronica, my attorney, land use pit bull, the kind of person who sees HOA bylaws as light reading. She took one look at the evidence letters, footage, the whole circus, and said, let them keep going. We'll break them in half. Meanwhile, I ramped up the security. More cameras, signs, digital backups in Oregon. Because if you haven't figured this out yet, people like Karen don't back off. They escalate. Sure enough, another letter showed up, this one so desperate it nearly screamed. Submit to our authority or prepare for every inspection, audit, and fine imaginable. I ran it through a forensic font check, Microsoft Word default, how original, and forwarded it to Veronica. That's extortion, she replied. Now it's criminal. Set more cameras. So I did. And wouldn't you know, within days, Karen and her midnight crew were back stomping through my garden, measuring, plotting. If we stake the fence plan before the overlay hearing, we can claim jurisdiction, she whispered to her cronies. They thought I wouldn't catch on. Joke was on them. We filed every report, trespass, harassment, attempted fraud. Pulled every county record on zoning and annexation. Guess what? No vote to expand Aspen Gate's boundaries. Not ever. They were bluffing, inventing authority out of thin air. But they weren't done. One day I came home to find my hedges torn up, custom lanterns smashed, koi pond stones, ripped out tire tracks across my new plantings. 6 men, a flatbed, and you guessed it, Karen's cigarette dangling from her mouth, supervising like she was directing a movie. The whole thing caught on camera naturally. I called the sheriff again, filed insurance claims, brought in experts to document every scratch and root. Veronica filed criminal charges, demanded restitution, and leaked just enough to the local papers to make sure nobody could ignore it. And that's when things shifted. A neighbor stepped forward, marked a sweet old lady with wind chimes who'd always kept to herself. She'd seen the truck, jotted down a partial plate, suddenly angry on my behalf. The paper ran a front-page story, local architect alleges HOA-backed vandalism. And the town woke up. You ever see how fast people scatter when a bully's spotlight lands on them? That's what happened next. Former HOA board members started calling me. One even apologized for voting for Karen's expansion plan. The zoning board issued a statement. This property is not under any HOA jurisdiction. Claims to the contrary are fraudulent. The HOA vice president resigned, and the stories started spilling out: anonymous posts, tales of Karen intimidating the elderly, forging documents, all of it. But she still tried one last play. Late one night, her cronies broke into my studio not to steal, but to search for violations, looking for something, anything they could use to force compliance. Didn't take anything, just photographed, measured, whispered about code. I watched from my phone, heart pounding, called the cops as soon as they left. This time even the deputies were mad. That's felony territory, one said. We'll file a criminal report. It all led to court. Small, plain courtroom, but it felt like a cathedral the morning of the hearing. Karen lawyered up, tried to paint the whole thing as a misunderstanding. Veronica was ice cold, laid out the evidence like blueprints, deeds, footage, the fake notices, even audio of Karen bragging her plan would control everything in a month. Then the twist. A former HOA board member testified Karen had orchestrated a scheme to intimidate outsiders, boost property values, and make examples out of people like me. The judge didn't just see through it. He spelled it out clear as daylight: criminal trespass, document falsification, harassment, attempted coercion, emergency injunction, criminal referrals, and when the full trial came, Karen was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Her accomplices fined, barred from ever sitting on a board again. Aspen Gate dissolved. Accounts frozen, every fake action wiped from my record. Karen had to pay me damages over 200 grand, not that the number mattered so much as the justice of it. You ever watch karma do its work in real time? It's quieter than you think. No fireworks. Just a slow relief, like a bruise fading or a bad dream you finally wake up from. A week later, I put up a new gate. Black steel. No more signs, just the simple truth: home of a poor artist richer than Karen. Funny thing that. The first neighbor who ever really talked to me came by, confessed he'd once supported the expansion, apologized, and accepted my offer of tea on the porch. No more sides. No more kingdoms. Just two people watching the sunset, talking about nothing. So, yeah, if you're out there thinking the rules are always on the side of the loudest voice, think again. Sometimes all it takes is one person saying no and meaning it to stop a whole machine. You just have to be stubborn enough to build your own house and smart enough to never let anyone take it. What do you think? Did justice actually get served? Or is this just a lucky break in a broken system? Ever had someone try to bully you off your own land or force you into a rule book you never signed? Drop your story, good or bad, down below. I promise I'll read every single one.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.